Hello and welcome to the show. We are back at Blizzard Mountain making some more hill climb monsters. Now, unfortunately, as much as I would love to take the Lola here, it doesn't get the right parts in the right class for it to be applicable for this series. I'm sure we will come up with something to do with this car. However, for today's episode, we are going to, well, rely on the Forza gods, because it's going to be a Wheelspin lucky dip for this. What we're going to end up with, I have absolutely no idea. Have they changed the price? I think they might have put this down. I thought it was 100,000 credits, although it might have been 50,000. I don't really know, to be honest. I think the price is different for the wheel spins. What are we going to get? Now, because my luck with wheel spins is absolutely terrible, we are going to continue to go through here until we win a car. Whatever vehicle we win, provided it is going to be... Oh, it could have been a 131. Provided it is in the correct class, or provided we know it's able to be built to an S1 class car, and provided it is something that we haven't run before, we will be using whatever we are given. Oh, almost a 4. This is being mean. This is mean and unusual punishment from the gods of the wheel spins, more so than normal. Oh. Okay. We have a Donkavort. This, I don't actually know. I have no idea. This might... I mean, that's something I haven't actually driven on this game. It might not be in S1, or might not be in S1 class by the time we've finished with it. We're going to have a look and see if the Donkavort... it's, I guess, potentially going to be quite quick. It's going to be very, 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 very light. And I suspect quite underpowered, although the lightness may make up for it. Right, Donkavort is... S1 class to begin with. However, with all-wheel drive and snow tyres, we'll see what that does to the PI. Either way, I suspect we are going to not have much room in the way of upgrades. However, sometimes it can still turn out to be quite a fast car. Right, customise. We will go for all-wheel drive. That does put the weight up a little bit. We're still under £2,000 in this. These are the bigger conundrum. It's still going to fit, right? The Donkavort is usable, so this is what we shall be going for. Fantastic. Now, tyre width. 245s to begin with, 295s at the back, and 245s at the front. Decent enough sized tyres. Now, we have got to sort of pick and choose very carefully the bits that we want. I am going to want downforce. Now, I'm hoping that okay, so the rear wing does drop us the PI that the front wing gains. The only real downside to the wings is drag. Now, that's not going to affect us on the course that we're driving. You're not going fast enough to have problems with drag. I do love how the rear wing is kind of mounted on the roll cage. There's not really anywhere else to put it on the Donkavort. Yep, we will take that. Now, I want brakes. I think brakes are going to be quite important on this course. Likewise, I'm going to want rally suspension, and we're probably going to want anti-roll bars. They're not really affecting our PI. Weight reduction, I don't really see much point in. To be honest, the car's incredibly light to begin with, and that's PI that we could probably be using for power, and I think we're going to go power over weight reduction. I will go and put on the diff, though, because it's a free upgrade, and it's always worthwhile doing it. What can we get? We're going to get a tiny bit more power, I would imagine, in the car. If we could get it past 400 horsepower, I think we'd actually be doing relatively well. You've got to bear in mind here, power to weight ratio is going to be pretty impressive in this. So that was, what, 409 horsepower? I suspect these are going to be, yeah, just a little bit to... Okay, so 411 horsepower from the valves, and this was 409 with the air filter. We were trying to... Oh, 412 horsepower, but I think the air filter and the valves are slightly lighter, so I think we might go... it was the ignition, wasn't it, that we got? There we go. Ignition got us 412 horsepower. I think we might go for it. I guess there is always the option you could... Ooh, this could be interesting. If we went intercooler, and then we went intake as well. We can't quite get that, but we can get 420 out of that. And then what we might be able to do, sneaky, sneaky plans here, we can then drop the weight back down again with parts like this Not sure it's going to be enough quite, but we have got over 400 torque now going on in our Donkavort, which is nice. Okay, we can't get away with any of them. 1,706 pounds. Yeah, power to weight ratio, mighty impressive in this. Probably not the most, however, you know, still pretty good. And we've got big tyres. We've got big tyres. We've got, hopefully, a lot of grip. I think there's potential to go quick with the Donkavort in this run. Of course, it is off to the Devil's Corners hill climb with the Donkavort, where I am going to get 3 runs in an attempt to go as fast as possible. Now, our current leader is the HDT VK Commodore 157.7, the time to beat. The Donkavort is very, very different to everything else that I've run up this course. I mean, the closest thing to, I guess, maybe the Lotus Exige, that was the first car out, but that wasn't particularly fast. Yeah, the Delta S4 was a rally sort of built car rather than this that's a track car. It's still a motorsport. There's nothing really to compare the Donkavort to. There's no real. I don't really have any idea of what to expect from this car, other than I'm hoping it's going to be good handling. It's got to have some pretty decent speed before turn 1. The turning wasn't as great as I was expecting. I'll be honest there. I was hoping at the front end we'd get into that corner a little bit nicer, but there we go. That is something that we can work with. The gear is very, very short in this vehicle. Come on, yeah, turn, and then we can hopefully accelerate out the other side. I think our best bet for getting good times with this car, we're going to have to... Oh, we've got more oversteer than I was hoping to have. We're going to have to make the most of its acceleration. It is likely to be very, very quick. Maybe not sort of all the way up to 130 miles an hour. I just don't think we have the sheer brute force to be getting up to the highest speeds we've seen on this course. But we might be able to get up towards like 100 miles an hour as quick as a lot of the very fastest cars. 120-ish as we get on the brakes. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that this car doesn't quite have as good a brakes and as good a returning. Perhaps I was expecting a little too much from the Donkavort. That's 105 miles an hour across the jump there, which is very, very good going indeed. Come on, front end, get turned into that corner. Also, how on earth we fare jumping through the air, I'm not sure about. Or as I jumping through the air, the bumps as well. The Volvo had all manner of issues with the bumpy sections. The worst of the bumps are coming up around this next corner. The Donkavort you would not expect to excel at off-road bits. Oh, we got some oversteer at an inopportune moment, and we're all out of whack. Things have gone wrong for the Donkavort on the ice. Oh dear, we've we've had a little bit of an issue. We've gone the wrong. It's the first car to go the wrong side of the concrete barrier. Yeah, it all went wrong on the run into the icy straight that time. There was not a lot of control, and as we ended up on the wrong part or wrong sort of area, clipped the ice, and there is no catching that. Well, it's not a great opening run. In fact, it is going to be the slowest time, I think, set up this course, largely because of a spin. There is definitely potential, and the acceleration up towards 100 miles an hour is very, very fast indeed. However, yeah, whether we've quite got the ultimate grip and the ultimate power, we'll have to wait and see. Right, it is on to our second attempt. Let's hope things can go a little bit smoother with this car. I think we've got a better launch this time down towards the first corner, but get on the brakes nice and early. That seems to be a little bit of the trick with this one. Make sure we've got that front end turned, and then use that incredible power to weight ratio to get it fired out of the corners. I say it is incredible. It's 400 horsepower in a car that weighs 1,700 pounds is good, but we have also seen very high power to weight ratios in other vehicles. BMW 2002, for example, springs to mind. That was putting out some 700 horsepower in a car that weighed, I think, about 2,000 pounds. So it's not quite got that level, and that's why I said I'm not expecting this to be breaking any speed records, although it does have traction, certainly more so than some of the crazy. Like the Honda S800, for example, had 700 plus horsepower. I can't remember the exact figure, and that weighed very, very similar to this car. However, the Honda was manically spinning its wheels everywhere. Even with all-wheel drive, the Honda, there was no controlling it. This isn't spinning its wheels as anywhere near as much, although I do fear for a slight lack of turning. It's just something we're going to, I think it's something we're going to end up getting used to with this series. Almost everything that has been driven so far has understeered quite a lot around this course. Now as we jump our way up through these next corners, this is where we've got to be quick. This is a very, very important corner, but we do struggle to maintain as much speed through there as you would perhaps ideally like, and the bumps are not fun for the Donkavort. Neither is that. Oh no, we caught another ice patch. We're going to go very sideways. Oh no. Just clipped it on our way past, and that has cost us some time with an absolutely massive slide as we round the final corner, run towards the line. It's a 58.9 or a very, very low 59. Not quite sure. It was a 58.9, and that included a big slide. We've gone quicker than the Delta S4 already. I don't know whether we can quite get up to the Commodore's time, but it is looking promising for the track car. It is on to the final run with the Donkavort. About a second is the time we need to find, and if we can stay off the ice, that would be very helpful. I mean, staying off the ice is generally good for cars in this series, although the Donkavort did seem the most susceptible car that I've driven so far. I have got away a couple of times with running cars across the ice without massive, massive moments. The Donkavort, not quite so much. Maybe being such a light vehicle in a much more track-orientated vehicle, it's just not that comfortable. And that section might just have been the way that I've happened to hit it. It certainly doesn't seem to like the bumps down the icy straight. Elsewhere, it's okay, but it isn't too rough of a circuit, this one. There are a couple of jumps earlier on, but they are relatively simple in terms of the landing zone. And that's not surprising, let's face it, that the Donkavort doesn't like the really, really rough part of the track. After all, not exactly designed as a rally car. My main kind of criticisms of the vehicle, we're still lacking a lot in the way of front-end grip. We've seen this time and time again with a lot of vehicles. But, yeah, there is a lot of understeer going on, and I had hoped with this being, well, certainly on tarmac, a really rather good handling car. I had hoped we might not have quite as much understeer going on here. It's just there. There is not enough turning going on in the Donkavort for my liking, although we do have more crazy acceleration than expected. I feared we might get a little bit screwed over by the Forza PI system starting off a much higher PI, less parts to work with. This time we do avoid the ice, and it is lovely and quick through there, using all of the road, a little bit of a signpost. We jump through the air. That's cracked the windscreen, but not much I can do about that one. Take a lovely tight line through the penultimate corner, try and straighten it up for the final turn. We're struggling with grip. Oh, I think we might have gone quicker. I think we might have gone quickest of all, and we have a 157.4 from the Donkavort. Will move it into the lead. It is another kind of half second almost down the road from that Commodore. There was a lot more time found on that final run than I was perhaps expecting from that car. We move a second clear of the BMW 2002 Turbo, the Dodge Charger, and the Toyota AE86. I think it might be one of those cars that feels slower than it is. Certainly when it comes to the corners, I wasn't expecting it to go fastest of all, because it does feel like you're struggling a lot. But we have seen it in various build series I've done before. Cars that feel slow or feel slower go very, very quickly, and cars that feel very fast can go rather slow. Yeah, turns out it is pretty damn fast up the mountain, although it does not like bumps. Really does not like the bumps around here, as you might expect, and the ice can cause it some rather big problems if you aren't a little bit careful. But, yeah, there we have it. Another lucky dip car, much like the Ford Woody did with our first rally car build series on Horizon 3. A lucky dip, a lucky wheelspin car has gone to the top of the table. That, though, is going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.